If you write about one topic once, Google's not going to say you're an expert. With SEO, you know that your post doesn't just need to be the best post out there. It needs to be better than all of the posts that are on the first search results page.
I'm Jonathan Gandalf, and welcome to the Content Cocktail Hour, powered by The Juice. Our mission is to squeeze out the deepest secrets of B2B marketing professionals to help you push your brand to the forefront of the industry. Let's raise a glass. Welcome back to the Content Cocktail Hour. This is Jonathan Gandalf, founder and CEO of The Juice, and the host of today's episode, where I am thrilled to be joined by Ben Kazinik, Senior SEO Manager at Monday.com. I was just sharing with him before we hit record. I've done a lot of things in marketing, but I've never done SEO like on my own. So I might ask some dumb questions along the way. I'm excited to learn a lot along the way, and obviously excited to learn from somebody who's works at a brand like Monday. So Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we dig in, why don't you share a little bit in your own words about your background and kind of your role at Monday.com?
Well, I started in content marketing 8 years ago. And then I worked at an e-commerce company where I basically managed all their marketing. They had a giant Amazon presence, but they didn't have a site. They didn't have anything. So we kind of built their Shopify, and I dabbled in all these different channels, and I really saw that I want to do content. And then I switched to Maple, which at Maple, I did all their content and all their SEO. Maple is a platform where they match marketers with brands. So they they vet them and make sure they're good, and then they match them. And so they can match people with different expertise, with specific experience. So you're getting somebody good. And there I kind of wrote content for marketers, which was great. And did that, grew a site from 2K to 230K visitors a month. And now I'm at Monday. I've been here for about 5 months, and I'm part of the SEO team.
I love that. Well, Ben, before we dig into those experiences and your experience specifically at Monday, this is the Content Cocktail Hour. We always like asking all of our guests, what are you enjoying drinking nowadays?
I personally love virgin pina coladas. They're delicious.
Hell yeah.
But then you don't have any of the effects because there's no alcohol.
Looking cool. It takes a lot to help me look cool. Virgin pina colada might just do that. So that sounds delicious. Need to check that out. All right. Well, let's
What's your favorite drink?
Oh man, coffee, lots of it. Water, probably not enough of it. Lately, what have I been drinking a lot? A lot of ginger ale, actually. I'm on a weird ginger ale kick. There's one that's got a splash of cherry in it. It's not real cherry, I'm sure, and it's just worse for me, but I've been on a ginger ale kick lately. Cool. Let's talk about Monday.com. I am fascinated by this. I'm a big Monday.com fan. I actually just recently was switching over our content calendar, which we used a spreadsheet for an entire year to manage our content calendar. And I'm oddly proud of that. I built the entire year out before we got into it. I'm like, we use it. We stuck with it all year. But then I'm also like, this is a huge pain in the ass and just a mess to manage now because we keep adding rows and columns and everything to it. Actually, when I was first looking at Monday.com, content calendar was one of the services that you mentioned. I think we're all familiar with Monday.com from a project management perspective, but it is now so much more than that. And I was impressed by all the different use cases for how we could use it. So I have to imagine from an SEO and marketing perspective, is that both a blessing and a curse? How do you battle what they're always known for and what their expertise is versus all these other use cases that have now been layered on? Is that a challenge or an opportunity from an SEO perspective for you?
I think it's both, because essentially we used to write about everything under the sun because people used our product for dev, as a CRM, for anything, organizing anything. But then we launched those products separately. So now we have a CRM product, which competes with Salesforce. We have dev product, competes with Jira. And so now I think it's a challenge because it's a little bit confusing for consumers. They're thinking, wow, Monday dev, what is that? But on the other hand, the site, I think, has a lot of authority, a lot of juice. If we keep with the content quality that's been pretty high so far, we can rank really easily, and we have the authority in the space in general. But I think it's just educating different audiences about our new offerings, essentially.
Yeah, I was educated just myself, visiting the site. I did appreciate almost the simplicity of the site. For everything that you do, it felt very organized and very simple. It was very divided by use case. I think you see some people with websites where it's 12 tabs. Each tab has sub-tabs, and they've got sub-tabs within their sub-tabs, and it gets a little unruly pretty fast. So kudos to you all. I'm curious, as a marketer, you mentioned Maple, you're writing marketing for marketing. Is there a favorite kind of use case or vertical you like creating SEO content for Monday?
Well, I just started a few months ago.
Right.
So not yet. Right now, I'm just in the weeds. I'm just refreshing stuff, seeing what we're missing. Basically, inherited hundreds of posts. I'm in charge of the work management category, so like the traditional project management product. I'm just going through a lot of stuff, figuring out if it's old, if it's cannibalizing something else, what to do with it, updating images. I'm sure I'll get some SEO marketing related use cases down the line.
Love that. So you mentioned optimizing there, and I think let's dig in. Let's get a little bit nerdy on all things SEO. I think a lot of people, at least maybe in the last couple of years, this has changed a little bit with AI, but a lot of people have thought about when they start an SEO program, it's about writing hundreds, thousands of pages potentially of new content to rank on keywords, clusters, whatever it may be. But I've heard from a lot of marketers that I really respect, they're actually spending more time optimizing what they already have. Can you talk about that balance a little bit of creating new SEO content versus optimizing what you already have?
Yeah, for sure. I think what's fascinating about SEO as a channel is that all of the data is on the search results page. Like everything you need to know is there. Like if you're creating an ad, you're not going to know how it competes with other ads. You can't really compare it, right? It's like very subjective and you don't know if it's going to work. But with SEO, you know that your post doesn't just need to be the best post out there. It needs to be better than all of the posts that are on the first, search results page. And there's different apps, different tools that people use to compare it to see, okay, how long it is. That's just very surface level. But there's a tool called Phrase, Market Muse, Surfer SEO, where you put in your post, your content, and then it shows you which keywords you're missing compared to the other posts. So it actually extracts all the keywords, tells you how many times they're mentioned. And so I think using that is a good place to start. Also doing manual search, manual research, seeing what are some of the subtopics that you're missing that the other search results are covering, and what other angle you can add to that. And then using Google, like using everything you see on the page as hints. Like if you have a featured snippet where, there's the definition on top, so you got to incorporate that. If sometimes Google displays questions, FAQs, you got to incorporate that. Sometimes there's actual sections. Like Google presents a whole widget where it says like benefits, some other stuff. So you have to incorporate some of that and still make it unique, still make it your own. But all the data is there. And so a post that you may have written 2 years ago that was just perfect, flawless, now it's outdated. Now it's all of a sudden on the second page, which means it gets 0 clicks. Sometimes it's an easy fix. Sometimes it's about updating the title, adding some FAQs, adding some keywords. Sometimes the whole section's missing. So it's really nice to come from a content background where I can look at it as an SEO, but also write the content myself, add it in there, improve the images. Sometimes it's about adding a video. Sometimes it's about like elements, like making the post more user-friendly. If there's bullet point lists you can add, if there's a summary table you can add that summarizes the whole information visually, then that's huge. Then you get the leg up and you start ranking higher. But it is true that you need a certain cluster of topics. Like if you write about one topic once, Google's not going to say you're an expert. Just like if I went to college and went to one class, well, I can't get my degree. So if you want Google to consider you an expert on a piece and start on a topic and start ranking for it, you have to create a certain amount. And that amount is different for every niche. But so like content quality is important, but content quantity is also very important. Some people publish once a week and they think, wow, I made it. And it takes some time to build that momentum up. The biggest brands out there in any niche, they publish, 40, 60 posts a month. They update some of them, but it's a lot.
Yeah, I was talking to a SEO expert a couple of months ago on the podcast as well, and he mentioned like what he likes about SEO is kind of like he's also a gamer, and he loves the like a little bit of what you were referencing of like piecing together like okay, like the search result, the related topics, the what is ranking, what's in the the snippets. So it kind of sounds like that's what you're doing too. It's just like a big investigation project, and then you get to go take all of that knowledge and act on it very quickly.
Yeah.
Cool. If you were to divide your pie of time of like research, creating content, and optimizing content, I'm sure there's much more than that in the role, but kind of those three, like what's the balance of doing the research versus optimizing what you already have versus creating new content?
Like 75% of it is research.
Wow.
They have to create the brief for the new post. And at Monday, they have, we have such a large team. So the content and the SEOs are separate. So my job is more the research and giving the instructions to the content team, and then they go and optimize and rewrite and refresh. So yeah, a lot of it is that. We also have different languages. So I'm spend my time sometimes a whole day just reading German, pretending I know what it says.
Pretending.
Yeah.
I love that. What does the team look like that Monday for content specifically?
We use freelancers. We have an in-house content manager. She manages all the freelancers, and yeah, we have a ton of them. And then we have a few SEOs. It's like a small team of SEOs. Each one is in charge of their vertical, and each one is like a whole world, right? It's like a whole world of developers, where they communicate, platforms they use, what they talk about, different thing.
Yeah, their own universe. Makes sense. Those are different people.
Yeah.
What is, I know you all are probably measured by impressions, visitors, views. I'm always fascinated. We talk to so many marketers, content marketers. Sometimes the goal is like more brand and it's like impressions, views, rankings. Sometimes it's more demand gen, pipeline, source revenue, conversions. I know you can't have one without the other and there's always some balance, but overarching at Monday.com, is it the kind of rankings and brand that's more important for your content program, or are you all also being judged by revenue and dollars and cents?
Definitely both. The most important is signups, and that's kind of all I have control over. Like I bring the people to the post to sign up. The rest of that pipeline is the other teams. But I remember when I was starting out as a content writer, people would just brag, oh, look, I wrote a really good piece. But nobody talked about the performance of it. Like, did it rank? Did it get any clicks? Is there traffic? And people are like, I don't know. I wrote it. I submitted it. I submitted on time, but it doesn't work. The last few years I've hired content writers. It's not about just the writing. It's about, did you follow the instructions? Are you savvy with SEO? Because that's the channel I've been working with. Did your piece rank? And if it didn't, did you know how to improve it to rank it? So I guess it's like a blur between content and SEO, but essentially rankings correlate to clicks. If I'm in the top 3, I get the most clicks. So it's, I look at the clicks and then also the signups.
Is this your first time you've been in a like kind of a PLG or like sign up motion? Have you like previously was the conversion like a demo request or a download, or was Maple also kind of that PLG motion?
Maple was also that, but they also had scheduled calls. So they would connect it to the sales team, and we've been working through conversions for a while. Yeah.
Is there anything unique? Does it change the content strategy at all when it's a PLG versus a sales-led motion?
Yeah, it's the type of customers, the type of audiences that you reach out to. Like you could write on a bunch of topics that are more like enterprise, top-down topics, higher up the market, and you may not see those conversions right away because it takes a long time. So it depends. If you're like, I came from like a tiny startup, so it was very much go, go, go. We need the results right now. So now I'm in a giant company where we need to develop better tools of tracking assisted conversions and looking at things more long-term. And then that defines the topics that I go after. So I might choose a keyword that has way less search volumes than like, I don't know, project management courses, right? So if you want to write about project management courses, you want to get all that top of the funnel traffic, but none of that's going to convert. Versus if you do something bottom of the funnel, specifically for solving some issue that an enterprise customer may have, it may take them 6 months to convert. So it's a different strategy for sure.
Yeah, interesting. All right, we've gone pretty far on an SEO conversation without mentioning AI. So we should probably fix that and talk all things AI now. I think SEO is one of the spaces that gets most talked about being disrupted by AI. What's kind of your overall perspective on what it means for SEO?
In general, I think AI definitely revolutionized things that we could create better content faster. And of course, people took advantage of it and created crap spam content that Google is now devaluing and learning how to track. But overall, creating better creating more content faster. But also, I think it's altering the number of clicks that articles get because the AI overviews, they move all the rest of the search results down. And so we're seeing in Ahrefs and other tools, we're seeing that we're ranking in AI overviews. I don't know how that translates to traffic yet, but I think that the first search result page is changing. We can rank the same way for the last 12 months, but we're getting less traffic. So I think SEOs need to think about content promotion more and other channels. How can you really write a piece for the audience and then engage with that audience on different channels and then put a lead magnet there and like continue that conversation through internally different channels. That's what's going to make or break your SEO efforts.
Absolutely. Have you seen any changes in like search behavior or even search terms? Like I've heard anecdotally, you might or might not have data to confirm this, like, Chat GPT, that's kind of been the most widely used and broadly available tool for people using, like the average person using AI. Like it's a lot more like question and answer format and like chat and almost like informal type of back and forth. Are you seeing that play out at all in like what people are actually searching for?
It's hard to say, man.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the data for that yet.
Yeah, that's fair. You mentioned Ahrefs, you mentioned Market Muse and a few others earlier. What solutions are you using in your role that maybe others could use? Because I know a lot of SEO tools, there are obviously enterprise SEO tools, but I know there's also a lot of free resources out there. What should a smaller business than Monday.com think about using from a SEO kind of analysis perspective so they can start to make changes themselves?
We're using Ahrefs. I'm sure there's other free ones out there.
Yeah.
But I would also suggest using phrase.io. They're amazing. They take your content and then they show you a list of keywords. They show all the search results there for you so you can do your research better. SEO is still about manual research. And the magic is in creating the brief, essentially. Mm-hmm. If your brief is comprehensive, then your article is going to come out better. And I think there's also a lot to say about internal links. When we were working at Maple, we were stuck at a certain threshold. I think we're like 50 or 60K visitors a month. And I spoke with some SEO experts and somebody suggested, why don't you add internal links? Like there's a lot of pages that aren't linking to each other. So we spent a whole month just adding links to pages to each other within the website. And that boosted our traffic significantly.
Wow,
so
interesting.
It's a huge, because people talk about link juice, but essentially an internal link is just as powerful as a backlink. So a powerful page linking to another page, like say a new piece that you wrote, that gives it more power.
Love that. Where should somebody who's maybe not as SEO savvy and maybe doesn't have as many resources, is resource constrained, maybe I'm asking for myself here, where should somebody get started in the SEO space right now if they're looking to improve or really start to invest against their own SEO?
You mean there's somebody in a company or somebody like a freelance?
Yeah, in a company.
What I found really helpful is I just did consultations with a few SEO experts.
Yeah.
And so if you find some good ones on LinkedIn, because spend half an hour just talking, figuring out what you're missing, and then usually like paying for a content strategy, like getting an expert to create a whole plan for you for the next 6 months. Let's say, here are the topics, here's how you do it. And if you have somebody on your team that can go out and do the manual research, looking at the search results, seeing how to make the article the most comprehensive, then I think that's a win-win. You just get that strategy one time and then you continue iterating as long as you know how to make that content really high quality, like you know about how to make it visual and videos and everything. Also, I'd recommend CXL. They have some great courses on SEO. A little bit expensive, but pretty comprehensive stuff. Andy Christodina is one of the professors there. I'm a huge fan. But yeah, essentially, you can learn a lot from LinkedIn nowadays. Just following people. The YouTube video route is also good. Ahrefs has a bunch of stuff out there, but it's also hard to filter out, figure out what is related to you and what isn't.
Yeah. Speaking of talking to experts, tell us about, you've got an SEO roast series that you do. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So we got a channel called the SEO Bros, because it's bros before SEOs. A lady commented and said, hey, what about me? So we said, hey, could be chicks before clicks. Something like that. Anyway, bros before SEOs. Basically, in the SEO world, a lot of people just say, you ask them a question and they're like, well, it depends. Yeah. We ask them, hey, what tool do you use? And they're like, I can't really tell you. It's very, very secretive, very, very secretive. So we wanted to debunk that. And we basically take websites and we roast them. We do a live SEO audit for about an hour, 40 minutes. And it's me and my friend Yaron, and they're from an SEO agency. And we go through everything, technical SEO, the site, content, strategy, whatever we can fit in that hour. We're still small, so we just roast companies that we like without them knowing. And then we post on LinkedIn, and sometimes we give them a grade. Companies were really sloppy in their SEO. We gave them like a C minus. But
It's friendly
it's, yeah. Hey,
instead of failing them.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's great.
Yeah. You say unknowingly. I've knowingly volunteered the juice for that. So I'm not sure if I'll regret that choice or not, but I know we could use some help. So we probably deserve some roasting, and maybe that's what we need to kick it into gear on our side. So I love the concept. I think that's what B2B content should be nowadays. It should be fun. So I love that. Well, we like always ending these conversations with, what's an unpopular opinion that you have as it pertains to B2B marketing?
I don't like thought leadership. I don't know why. Like when I need to research something, then I look at it. It's like, okay, great. But I don't know. People sometimes post with an opinion and it's great for them, builds their business. But I think real marketing happens in this giant spectrum. The thought leadership is a tiny little piece at the end somewhere. Yeah, I don't know if that's an unpopular thing, but
I think it's pretty interesting. We actually see that play out in data on our platform. The most classic example I always give is AI. When, what was it, November 22, I think, when generative AI became broadly available to the public, I kept expecting to see like content about AI, thought leadership being written on AI, like to become very, very popular on our platform. And it just didn't. Like it continued to be like near like 10 in terms of topic popularity on our platform, which is, we don't have endless topics on our platform. So, and it just kind of stayed there. And then in the spring, it became like top 3 consistently. I could not reconcile why. So I finally sat down with our product leader and I was like, what is going on here? Like, why was it not popular for 4 months, then all of a sudden popular? And it was because for those first like 3 or 4 months that it became available, everybody was writing their thought piece on like, what does AI mean for the future of XYZ? You know, AI is coming for our jobs. Here's what you should do about it. Like, it was all this just like thought leadership, and nobody knows, right? And I think there's a lot of thought leadership where it's like, actually, it just depends. Like, this is your perspective. But then what happened in the spring is you started to see content that was how to use AI, how to update your website using AI. Like, it was all about how to actually like use the technology, and that content resonated really, and it still resonates. It's really popular on our platform, especially in the B2B space where it's like, man, when people are engaging with B2B content, it's because they have a problem, they have an acute pain point, they have a question. Like, they're not looking just to be like entertained or like, and very rarely just like read about somebody's opinion on a topic in B2B. I think it's much more utilitarian than that.
And a lot of AI stuff for SEO still doesn't work. Like you see people with lists of prompts. Hey, put this in and here, find me some keywords. It just doesn't work at all.
Yeah. Interesting.
So, it's hard to find a true SEO AI expert.
Yeah, love that.
If you see any, let me know.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any.
Will do. Well, I'm just looking forward to being roasted by one of them. That's you. That should be interesting. Ben, if people want to learn more from you or learn more about Monday.com, what's the best way to do that?
So I'm starting a site called Tuesday.com. It's where you can find all of my musings. No, just kidding.
I was going to say, that's got to be an expensive domain name there.
Yeah, where I'm trying to get the CEO bought into the idea, but yeah, just follow me on LinkedIn and Monday.com is there. It's great. Yeah. Go on there, use it, try it out. This video was not sponsored by Monday.com.
It should have been. I will say, I jumped into it. I jumped right into Monday.com and like I said, built our content calendar for next year on it and like actually enjoyed it. It was refreshingly simple and fast, and just looking forward to getting the team to adopt it as well here in the coming weeks.
We can automate so many things. Like when somebody changes the status of a certain post, then it sends a message to the editor or to whoever. It's great.
Yeah, it was great. It was like multi-directional automation, like both on the individual task, but then its impact on additional tasks. It was nice to just like be able to kind of drag and drop things around and see it all move as opposed to having to move it over and over again. So big fan. That's a very legitimate experience I've had that was very enjoyable. So kudos to you and the team there. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. To all of our watchers, all of our listeners, thanks for coming along. Be on the lookout for maybe a roast in the future. Go check out monday.com. And until next time, cheers.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you for joining the Content Cocktail Hour powered by The Juice. If you want to see more episodes or more resources curated for your role, join us on app.thejuicehq.com. See you next time, same place. Cheers.